Hey there. Welcome back for another ASMR video. Today we're going to be doing another Overwatch VOD review. So today we're going to be looking at a Genji player. So I know that Genji can be a bit of a controversial character. He's been the cause of a lot of my frustration, certainly in the backline. But that said, I'm going to give Genji his credit where credit is due and say that he's definitely one of the better DPS characters in the right hands. There was a time when Genji was probably one of the best DPS, hands down, but I think as the roster has expanded, that's changed. But that said, in certain scenarios with the right hands, when in the right hands, he's pretty unstoppable, especially when you have like an Ana and a Nano situation. So that all said, we're gonna jump into this Genji match and see if there's a few things we can learn. And now to begin with, he's one of the most mobile characters. He's one of the fastest characters as well. So the person who sent in this match, I want to say thank you so much. It's Henry. Henry, I really appreciate you taking the time to send this in so we could all take a look and hopefully learn a few things. But that all said, a few of his different abilities are his dash, which I think is probably one of his primary modes of damage, and allows him to sort of evade enemies. He's got his sort of cyber ninja agility, which allows him to move speedily and quietly. But he also has a double jump too, which is super powerful. He's got his deflect, which is also an incredibly powerful offensive ability, although it does tend to be lumped in with the defensive category. And then his Dragon Blade, of course, is one of the best ults, if of course it's combined with a Nano Blade, a Nano from an Ana. And then lastly, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Shuriken, which is his little ninja blades. And again, there are two modes of that. You know, his straight shot and his spread, which is like this: when he shoots, it'll shoot three kind of spread out. So all those combined, Genji can be a really powerful character. So why don't we jump into your match? I think it seems like this is going to be kind of like a mid-range game called Plat Realm. And I think that it might be helpful for the majority of people here. And we can just talk about some positioning and techniques. So why don't we go ahead and load up the match here and let's get into it. Okay, so we've got our match loaded up here. So let's try to get into this. On your team, we've got Genji, Diva, Roadhog, Ashe, and Hanzo, and a Moira. And on the other side, we've got Mercy, Torbjorn, Reinhardt, Ana, Orisa, and a Genji. So we have some double shields on their side. And of course, that Torbjorn is going to put a lot of pressure on you as Genji. You don't have a lot of range damage to take out his turret. You have to be very careful. Play good. Play well with your positioning. All right, I like that so far. I would try to get on this high ground there on the left or the right side. You can get a pretty good position there that'll allow you to get some damage. All right, I probably wouldn't be on point again. I would be pushing on that left side. So we're still putting pressure on this point. Again, I would be on the high ground. That was a good hook by your hog. Alright, and looks like you have taken this point, so I still think your initial positioning could have been improved. I mean, they didn't really capitalize on it, but if the DPS had been good, you could have died. That was really good. Good follow-up, good pressure. I like that. Alright, so we're putting pressure on this Rhine here. Again, I would have probably held the high position there. The high ground position. the deflect was okay. So, again, I think I would be on that high ground there, kind of just shooting down. I think you're holding the payload quite a bit, actually. Now, maybe because the tanks in your rank are not on the payload, so it's not being pushed, but that would be my big suggestion so far. Very strange positioning on this Genji here. Let's get that kill easily. Fantastic. Alright, that was really well done. I don't know what he was thinking. And he gave you basically the rest of your blade, too. Alright. Your tanks are not really taking a great positioning here, so they're not giving you a lot of space to work with. So that Mercy was going for that res. You can actually see this. You were kind of like going in your own direction here, but if you just watch here, you see that right there. You can just sort of see here that she goes in for the res. And then you kind of, there you go, let's look at it again. There she died, and then see right there. Because you were making this run, so you want to be kind of reactive with regards to what's happening. Don't get too much in your head. Yeah, unfortunately, because of that res, it kind of did. I'm not saying that was your fault singularly, but had you prevented that, you would have actually, look, see the res, so use the ult. Theoretically, you could have won that fight, and you did have a blade. So I think positioning is big for sure. You don't want to get too much in your head. That's definitely an issue with Genjis. And lastly, I think this Dragon Blade could have been used to confirm that fight there. You had the advantage. That was avoidable for sure. Again, that comes down to the positioning. Let's go back here again. You can see there's a lot of room for movement here, double jumping onto the high ground here. You could have put some pressure on the people in this room. They wouldn't have an angle on you there. So this depth for sure was avoidable. There's some stuff you're doing really well though so far. I think that positioning is a big one for you right here. Again, that death was really avoidable there as a positioning issue. If you'd been on the high ground, you would have avoided that spam damage. Alright, so let's try to get our team reset here. I can't hear the voice comms, so now a question would be also in terms of character selection. Do you choose Genji all the time, or because with what you have right now, Moira doesn't seem like the best choice to combine with. Okay. I mean, because it is open queue, that kind of does change things a little bit in terms of, which DPS to run. Alright. Here we go. Looks like we're going to get this. I would push in the back line there. You're focused a little bit too hard on the Orisa. You know that there's an Ana back there, so I probably would make that push and blade on her. That was a good dash. Again, I would have put a little pressure on the back line here because you were too much in the fray. And the Ana had a lot of room to work there and keep the team alive. So that's something I would have definitely done differently. And I think we can see a pattern here, which is, positioning is really your biggest issue, and it's leading to some bad decisions, or at least ineffective decisions. If you had the better positioning, I think overall it would make you unconsciously make better choices here. Because like I said, if you had taken the high ground up in that little tunnel, which is what I would have recommended, you would have just automatically kind of gone for the Ana there. You would have easily avoided this turret too. Alright. Fantastic. Try to push this Moira. Sure, Fade is gone, so... Okay. I think you could have gotten that kill. So now, what I would do is I'd be pushing up, taking an aggressive position, posturing a little bit. Alright, well. It's a good thing you didn't follow my advice on that one. You might have died from the Diva Bomb, but in general, you want to be lining up your next play. And that does remind me, you mentioned you wanted to, in terms of when you're doing your blade, you really want to be focusing, so you blade, and then the high level move is that you get the kill, it resets your cooldown, and you link to the next person to kill. So when you're blading, you're always wanting to think ahead. Wow, that was really unlucky, that charge. But you want to be thinking ahead to your next target, so with Genji again, you're thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead with Genji when you're playing, so that's kind of a good mindset trick with the also Tracer as well. And again, you're going to be wanting to just kind of think 1 or 2 steps ahead with Genji. That's a good way to solidify the mentality. Also with Tracer as well, that can be very helpful. Okay, so almost have your ult here. I definitely wouldn't get caught up in attacking this Diva if possible. You want to focus on the Mercy there if you can. Again, target prioritization is super important. You know, again, it's just so easy to get caught in that trap of attacking Roadhog or Diva for easy damage, but again, that's what they're designed to do, is absorb your damage, so you really want to take a moment to prioritize, you know, Mercy or Moira, or Moira again might be more difficult, but Ana, Baptiste. Use this ult if you can. Again, I'm seeing a little not aggressive enough usage on the ult. That could have given you a couple seconds there, I think, maybe. But mostly the main things I'm seeing here are you need to be a little more aggressive with your flanking in terms of putting pressure on the opposition healers. You're not closing the gap, but closing the distance. I see you're on the payload a lot. I think your aim is good. I think your mechanical skills seem pretty solid. So what I want you to do is just take a few extra seconds to take a deep breath and ask yourself where you are, because I think your position needs some work. I would be taking high ground more often, and if you take that positioning, it's going to naturally allow you to make better decisions, because again, your brain can only process so much, so you want to condition yourself to for good habits, and it will lead to good results more often than not. Certainly a couple percentage points increase. So let's see what happens here. All right, like in this high ground position. I think the deflect could have been used a little bit more effectively. I'd definitely be trying to get back here if you can. It's a little bit better pressure on the Ana. Again, you're focusing a little too much on that Orisa. I think you could have killed the Ana in that time. I'm not seeing a lot of use of your ninja abilities, just not, I'm not seeing a lot of double jumps again. And I think that that's reflective of the positioning problem too. You're getting close to Blade. I would really put in that extra push to get Blade if you can. Alright. A little bit too much time again on that Torp turret. That's again target prioritization. So I think that we can see some clear issues just that are going to help you improve. Positioning needs some work, and target prioritization number 2, and number 3, just getting your blade usage down just a little bit more aggressively. Maybe you'll spend a few more moments thinking about which targets you're going to take out. All right, that was decent. I like that. That was a weird turret actually in the back now that I think about it. So again, I think all these things combined, you can see your ult is a little slow here. The rest of your team does have their ult, including the Ashe. So I think I'd like to see just a little bit better movement here. I think there's the Tor, but you kind of just ran by him there. He's behind you now. I think that was probably something you could have seen just in the periphery there. It may just be because we have the outlines here. I couldn't really tell exactly, but he's definitely throwing by going in the back there like that. Alright. That was really well done. I like the shuriken use there. And again, that's not a weakness. I think you have pretty good mechanical skills. Your aim is good and stuff like that. That was nice. Again, I would try to take that high ground up there if you could. When you take the high ground, you take their attention away so that they have to focus on you. They have to look up. It's just confusing and less, more confusing in general than having to look straight, just ground level. Might be looking for a flank here at the right moment. There was a Moira there. That was, I think, easily avoidable. I would have gone around to the Mega in the back there, far side. Alright. Looks like they're going to get that point. I would try to back out here if you can. You do see a lot of new players here. They, if there's like 3 people here, so they try to hold. Sometimes it's best to just fall back. It does seem like you may have held this actually, so maybe I'm eating my words here. Well, in general, that doesn't always work out so well, but it did work for you guys there. That was unfortunate. Alright, here comes the wipe. So I would say like the best situation there, because a bunch of you were staggered, I would have tried to reset as fast as you can. Just turn around and just book it back. Especially on that bridge, I find a lot of people caught out of place and it leads to a big stagger, which you're seeing happening right now. And it easily just pushes through this tunnel here when the tunnel can be a good holding place. I would play it if you can here. Again, you're holding onto the blade a little bit too much for my liking. You could have used it, gotten a kill, and maybe built up another 20-30% towards it. It looks like they're just going to get it here. Alright, that was not bad. Okay. Again, that was unfortunate right there. But I think overall, just thinking about all usage and things like that, that will just overall having good practice will help lead to better results over time. So I think just really tightening up your play will help here. All right. So you guys are a little staggered here. The McCree has pretty bad positioning, just kind of like sitting way in the back there. That's kind of hurting your team right now. Okay. I keep forgetting you just have the Moira heals. That kind of complicates things. Still up that blade. Alright, so we've got our blade. I probably would pop it on this Moira here. Alright, at this point, I'd probably just save it for the last fight with 1 minute basically left here. Unless you want to use it this fight here. I think your ult usage does need a bit of work. It's just kind of, the timing is a bit off. I think, again, I think that's a perfect example of that there. Just in general, I think you're not using it enough and aggressively. You're waiting for, multiple picks, maybe 2 or 3. Sometimes you just need 1, 2 kills maximum, and you're gonna win the fight. Okay. I wouldn't be pressuring the soldier here, really. I would be looking for different targets. Maybe push around back there if you can, take the high ground on the tunnel. I would say in this situation that it would be probably best to just back out completely, reset. That was really unfortunate. So we've got 1 fight left. You do have a Diva bomb here that looks pretty big. I think you're going to get the Reaper ult too. Excellent. Wow, that was really nice. We couldn't see what happened, but your team lucked out. It does look like the Reaper ulted there. That was just Lucio. Alright, and that looks like that's game right there. That was really well done. And again, I think there's some pretty clear-cut things that we could work on, so let's talk about that. So first of all, I want to say thank you, Henry, for sending this in. Thank you so much. You did really well. Your mechanical skills were pretty good. I didn't see any issues there. But what I did see were some small issues that I think will lead to big results. So to begin with, your positioning needs a little work. I think you could have been taking the high ground about 70% more, and that would have led to just some better results for you. I think that would lead you to notice the healers in the back who are uncontested. You were on the payload a little too much for my liking, so I would have really liked to see that. A little more use of the ninja ability, the double jump, and things like that. I would like to see you use your ult a little more frequently, a little more aggressively, and on the right targets. I think you're holding it a little bit too much. And lastly, I'd like to see a little more prioritization of certain targets. So you spent a lot of time getting damage from the Diva and the Roadhog, and I think, I think you would have been better suited if you had actually focused on the squishies. So the last thing I want to say here is he's the most mobile character in the game, the fastest character. I'd like to see with your Dragon Blades thinking 1 step ahead and really just overall on his gameplay. Focus on that 1 step, 2 steps ahead. You're never living in the moment, you're living in the future with Genji and Tracer as well. So I think a few moments you were a little bit too caught up in the moment in your head and not really focusing on what was happening in the match, like with that Mercy trying to res the Orisa. So that all said, I really, really appreciate you sending this in, like I said, and I really hope everyone was able to learn some things from this match. And I have no doubt, if you really go watch some streamers, see their positioning on certain maps, and I think you'll find some good ideas about where you can improve on that. It's going to cause you to just play better, and I really can see you ranking up as well if you were to just take stock of those few items. And again, you're thinking in the future, you're, with your blade, you're trying to connect multiple dashes. You're thinking 1 step ahead, and that's how you're going to outplay your opponents, and how you're going to rank up, and how you're going to win. So, thank you so much, Henry. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.